Good afternoon, buenas tardes. My name is Paul Maria Parizel. I am here as the President of the European Society of Radiology. I am from Belgium. My native language is Flemish or Dutch. Yo parlo solo un poquito español. I have been here since Wednesday at the meeting of the Asociación Colombiana de Radiología, and it was a pleasure to be here. For me, it's the second time in my life that I am in Colombia. It's the first time to attend this meeting. I was very much impressed by several things. First of all, and this is perhaps the most important, I'm impressed by how friendly everybody is and how tolerant people are of my bad Spanish. But it seems like I have so many friends here in Colombia. Second, I have been impressed by the scale of the meeting. It is quite big. I don't know how many people there are, but I feel that this is a meeting of between 1,000 and 2,000 people. The auditoria are completely full. I gave my first lecture yesterday about the European Society of Radiology, and the auditorium was completely full. Today I was in the diagnostic neuroradiology session this morning, and then in the honorary session for Professor Berenstein, the auditorium was completely full. So it seems that there is a very, very big attendance. Thirdly, I would like to say that I'm very much impressed by the organization, which everything seems to be running smoothly and without an effort. And to me, because I'm used to scientific organizations, that is the highest compliment that you can give to someone, if it seems that everything is running smoothly without stress or without an effort. So again, it's a great pleasure, and it's actually an honor for me to be here as a guest of the Asociación Colombiana de Radiología. When you ask me what my relationship is with Latin America, I would like to go back to my childhood. My dream when I was a child was actually to become an archaeologist. And as a child, I read all the stories about the Incas and the Aztecs and the Olmecs and the Mayas and the Toltecs, and this was what I wanted to do. But again, I didn't do that. My father told me that there was nothing interesting to do in archaeology in Belgium, which is probably true. So I went into medicine, and during my adult life I never had the opportunity to visit South America or Latin America until a few years ago. Since a few years ago, I've now visited Colombia, Chile, and Brazil. And I very much like to say, and I have said this previously in another interview as well, I very much like to say that I feel that the spirit of education in radiology in South America is very close to Europe, because we seem to focus more on the patient than simply on the technicality of the imaging methods that we use. And this is, for example, for somebody who is not in radiology, it's perhaps difficult to understand this subtle difference, but it's very important, because the patient is ultimately the person for which we are doing the efforts that we do. And I think it's very important for radiologists to have visibility to patients. I sense that this is also the tradition in Colombia. I sense that this is also the philosophy of the president of your society, Professor Lubinos, and I sense that this is also what is reflected in the scientific program of the meeting. Colombia is, for the European Society of Radiology, an important partner society. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Asociación Colombiana de Radiología in 2013, and we have renewed this memorandum of understanding in 2015, and we hope to renew it again in 2017. The memorandum of understanding says that we exchange mutual presence at each other's congresses, and that we also collaborate for scientific education and research. To reflect also the importance of Colombia for the European Society of Radiology, I think that you know that the ESR, the European Society of Radiology, has opened an office in Bogota, in Colombia, which is actually the central office from which we try to serve our members in Latin America. And this is just to give you an idea that how important we think Colombia is for the relationship with the Europeans. I'm here, as I told you, as the president of the European Society of Radiology, which means that I have the pleasure of organizing the European Congress of Radiology in 2017. It will take place in Vienna from the 1st of March to the 5th of March 2017. This is going to be, for our society, an important meeting. I know that everybody thinks that every meeting is important, but this will be an important meeting for the European Society of Radiology because we decided to focus this meeting specifically on youth. We have seen that the average age of the participants in our congresses has decreased from the age of 51, 52, 10 years ago, to now an average age of only 41 or 42 years of age. It shows that the average age of our participants has been decreasing for over a decade, and we see more young people coming to the meeting. So we wanted to do something to dedicate this meeting to young people. It means a number of things. First of all, it means that we are changing the format of many of the sessions. For people in my generation, medical education was typically sitting in an auditorium with one professor explaining something. Now we will have more interactive formats using smartphones, tablets, computers, voting systems, etc. We are also offering to young people a platform to speak in their own language, which we call the voice of EPOS. EPOS are the electronic posters, where we will have sessions in Spanish. This will actually be the second year that we have this, and this will be very, very successful in 2016, and we expect to have more people in 2017, where people can speak their own language. We will have sessions in Spanish, in Russian, in French, a number of languages. And young people will be able to communicate short communications in a room where there will be a positive energy, where there will be more interactivity, so they can mix more with their own peer group. The emphasis on youth is also reflected in the program, which we call 1,000 rooms, 1,000 registrations, 1,000 abstracts. Meaning that we are going to offer to 1,000 people free registration in the meeting, a free room, hotel room, on condition that they provide an abstract and that the abstract is accepted by our review committee. This, to the best of my knowledge, is unique, absolutely unique in the history of Congress organizations. It represents a big financial investment for our society, but I think that you should also recognize that this is a big political risk that I am taking, because many scientific societies are led not by young people but by older people. And so this emphasis now to shift the emphasis from the older generation to the younger generation is an important change. The meeting will have a number of scientific highlights. Obviously, scientific highlights will include, we have a new course on spine imaging, where the topic of the spine will be approached from two sides, from the neuroradiology side and from the musculoskeletal side, again to build a bridge between the two radiological communities. We will have a course on functional neuroimaging with different aspects of functional neuroimaging in the course. We will repeat a course on hybrid imaging, because we think that in oncology, hybrid imaging is the way to the future. And again, I think that the key word is to combine the forces of many disciplines and to avoid that radiology should be a discipline where we have many separate rooms, but where we open doors, where we open windows between the rooms, and where we build bridges. And traditionally, I would say that the European Congress of Radiology has acquired a reputation for educational excellence and scientifically advanced papers. And the mix, I think, between basic information and scientifically advanced topics is what is so important. Because I always tell my residents, you have to, in order to run, you have to learn how to walk first. And you have to learn how to stay on your 2 feet, and you have to learn the basics of radiology. This is what the ECR is offering, but also the more advanced topics. And we like to think that we are the best radiology meeting in the world.